Hello my dear students, welcome to our online class. I am Anju Sharma, your English teacher. Today we are going to study our chapter number 4. Chapter number 4, Meeting Miss Trotwood, written by Charles Dickens, which has been taken from your English book, New Mulberry English book. This video is for class 5, Meeting Miss Trotwood Part 2. Today I am going to teach you the explanation of this chapter along with the word meanings. First we are going to discuss the word meanings, and after that I'll give you the explanation of this chapter. So let us start our word meanings. First word is battered. B-A-T-T-E-R-E-D, battered. Battered means shabby and damaged with use. Okay, clear? Battered means shabby and damaged with use. Now come to second one. Second is haystack. Haystack means a large solid pile of hay. Haystack means a large solid pile of hay. Come to third. Third is stained. Stained means dirty spots. Stained means dirty spots. Fourth one, shaking her head. Shaking her head means, children, nodding her head. Number 5, marched. Marched, walked forward. Marched means walked forward. Number 6 is Suffolk. Suffolk is David's birthplace. Suffolk is a David's birthplace. Number 7, burst into ears. Burst into ears means crying. Number 8, tonics. Tonics here, medicinal liquid taken to feel healthy and full of energy. Number 9, adoption, acceptance. Number 10, scolded, to criticized angrily. Okay, number 10th is scolded, to criticized angrily. Now come to number 11. Number 11 is guardian. Guardians means here caretaker. Guardians means caretaker. Number 12, lawyer. L-A-W-Y-E-R, lawyer. Lawyer means advocate. 13, Salem House. The school where David was sent by Mr. Murdstone. 14, companions. Companion means classmates, same age mates or classmates. 15, pleaded. Pleaded, to request. 16, fortnight. Fortnight means 2 weeks or the time of 15 days. 17, cruel. Cruel means unkind. Opposite of kind, unkind. Cruel means unkind. 18, embraced. To accept by all means. 19, hastily. Hastily means in a hurry, hurriedly. Last and 20th, chaise. A small horse-drawn carriage with an open top and 2 wheels. I think, children, word meanings are clear to you. So after that, I am going to explain you the chapter. Okay, my dear students, now I would like to request you to open your book at page number 57. I am going to explain this chapter paragraph wise. So first introduction is there. Although his father had died, David Copperfield lived happily with his mother until she married Mr. Murdstone. Not a kind man. He was not a kind man. Mr. Murdstone's equally unkind sister came to live with them. They both lived together, Mr. Murdstone and his sister. They both are the villains of the story. Then David's mother passed away as well, and Murdstone and his sister continued ill-treating David. After the death of David's mother, the brother and sister Murdstone and his sister, they continued ill-treating David. They made him work in a factory rather than sending him to school. So, David went in search of his only living relative. Who was that relative? Well, his aunt, Miss Betsy Trotwood. Finally, after walking a long distance, he reached her house. Let us read the story to see what happened next. So I am going to read first paragraph. After that I'll explain it. I had walked every step of the way, sleeping under hay's tracks at night. Fortunately, it was summer. My shoes were completely worn out and my hat was crushed and battered. Battered means damaged here. My shirt and trousers stained with heat. Stained means dirty spots with heat, dew, grass and the soil on which I had slept might have frightened the birds from my aunt's garden as I stood at the gate. My hair had known no comb or brush since I left London. In this condition, I waited to introduce myself to my aunt. So, my dear students, this chapter is about narrator's strange meeting with Miss Trotwood. In the first paragraph, it is highlighted that the narrator's condition is quite poor. His shoes are completely worn out, his hat is totally crushed and wrinkled, his clothes are untidy and stained because he had to sleep on damp soil. Damp means here wet. Damp soil, and his condition not only made him uncomfortable but scared the birds in outside garden when he finally reached to meet his aunt as her house. So next paragraph is, as I stood there, a lady came out of the house with a handkerchief over her cap and a pair of gardening gloves on her hands. I was sure she was Miss Betsy from her walk, for my mother had often described her to me. Go away, said Miss Betsy, shaking her head. Go along. No boys here. I watched her as she marched to a corner of the garden, and then I went softly and stood beside her. So in this second paragraph here, this paragraph talked about the physical appearance of Miss Betsy. She came out of her house with a handkerchief over her cap and a pair of gloves on her hands. She was as same as narrator's mother's had described her to him. She shook her head to the narrator and walked towards a corner of the garden where later the narrator reached. Okay. Come to page number 58. Going to read this paragraph. If you please, ma'am. If you please, aunt, I'm your nephew. Oh Lord, said my aunt and sat flat down in the garden path. I'm David Copperfield of Blunderstone in Suffolk. Suffolk here, children, David's birthplace. This is the name of David's birthplace. Where you came when I was born. Where you came when I was born. I very unhappy since my mother died. I have been taught nothing and made to work instead of being sent to school. It made me run away to you, and I have walked all the way and have not slept in bed since I began the journey. So, in this paragraph, children, the narrator spoke to her by introducing him as her nephew. The aunt was surprised to hear this. He later introduced him as David Copperfield of Blunderstone in Suffolk. He discussed about the pain he had undergone after his mother's death. He also expressed that he was very unhappy and was made to work instead of being sent to school. All these circumstances made me to run away from there, said the narrator to his aunt. Due to the long, troublesome journey, the narrator couldn't eat and sleep properly. Clear? Now come to next paragraph. Here my self-control gave way and I burst into tears. Burst into tears means crying. My aunt got up in a great hurry, and took me into the house. The first thing my aunt did was to give me lots of strange tasting tonics. Tasting tonics means here, it is given here, medicinal liquid taken to feel healthy and full of energy. Then she heated bath for me. So children, here in this paragraph, the narrator felt so heavy that he burst into tears. When he burst into tears, narrator's aunt felt too bad after listening to the narrator and took him inside the house. She gave him something to eat and then sent him for a bath. Now come to next paragraph. After that, she gave me a shirt and trousers belonging to Mr. Dick, a nice old man who lived in my aunt's cottage, covered me two large, warm shawls and led me to a sofa, comfortable sofa where I fell asleep. Okay. Now third paragraph tells us his aunt also gave him tidy clothes to wear. She made him comfortable by warm shawls, giving warm shawls. Afterwards, he went for a sound sleep. Clear? Next paragraph. That was the beginning of my aunt's adoption of me. She wrote to Mr. Murdstone, and he and his sister arrived a few days later and were scolded by my aunt for the way they had treated me. Mr. Murdstone said finally he would take me back, but if I did not return there, and then his doors would be shut against forever. So here in this paragraph, after having so much of discussion and expression of what happened with narrator, Miss Betsy began the procedure of adoption. She wrote to Mr. Murdstone and called him there for final decision and clarification. Mr. Murdstone said she would take narrator back, but he did not return. His doors will be closed for him forever. Now come to next paragraph. After and what does the boy say? And what does the boy say? Said my aunt, "Are you ready to go, David?" I answered no, and pleaded with her not to let me go. She pulled me towards her and said to Mr. Murdstone, "You can go when you like. I'll take my chance with the boy." In this paragraph, when aunt finally asked narrator about his decision, the narrator said no. Aunt understood everything. She cuddled narrator and requested Mr. Murdstone to take to take her to take her to take him leave. Okay, so this page is over. Now come to next page, page number 59. When they had gone, my aunt announced that she would be my guardian. Guardian means here, children, caretaker, and that I should be called Trotwood Copperfield. Thus, I began my new life in a new name and with everything new about me. My aunt sent me to school at Canterbury, since there was no room at the school for boarders. She arranged for me to board with her old lawyer, Mr. Wickfield. Lawyer means here advocate. So, after they had gone, Aunt declared that henceforth she will be the narrator's guardian, and he will be known as Trotwood Copperfield. That was the turning point in his life, in narrator's life. A new name and everything new. His aunt made arrangements for his school also. She arranged for him to board with her old lawyer, Mr. Wickfield. So next paragraph, my aunt was as happy as I was in this arrangement. Mr. Wickfield's house was quiet and still, and his daughter Agnes, a child of about my own age, was bright and happy. The school I now went to was better in every way than Salem House. Salem House here. Salem House, the school where David was sent by Murdstone. But I felt very strange at first. It had been quite a while since I was at a school with companions of my own age. It seemed to me that I had forgotten everything I had learned. Seemed means look like or to appear. However, I felt better when I went to school the next day, and a good deal the better the day after, and so on. That in less than a fortnight means here 2 weeks, I was quite at home and happy among my new companions. So in this paragraph, children, Mr. Wickfield's house was quiet and peaceful. His daughter was very bright and cheerful. At present, the narrator was very happy. His present life was far better than Salem House. The school he was admitted to was a nice place, but the narrator felt very strange initially. Gradually he got accustomed to the school and started liking it. In less than a fortnight he was quite at home and happy among his new companions. Okay. So our last paragraph. Trot said my aunt when she left me at Mr. Wickfield's, never be mean in anything, never be false, never be cruel. I'll come and visit you soon. And now the pony's at the door and I am off. She embraced me hastily and went out of the house, shutting the door after her. When I looked into the street, I noticed how sadly she got into the chase, and that she drove away without looking up. Here, children, mean means of little value, cruel, unkind, and embraced to accept by all means, hastily, in a hurry, hurriedly, and chase. It is given here a small horse-drawn carriage with an open top and 2 wheels. So in this paragraph, when my aunt left him at Mr. Wickfield's, she advised narrator never be mean in anything, never be false and cruel. She hugged him hastily and went out of the house. When the narrator looked into the street, he noticed sadness on her face. So I think children, you have understood the explanation of this chapter very well. So students, there is a time for your assignment, and your assignment is revise the chapter thoroughly. Revise the chapter which I have explained to you. Revise the chapter thoroughly. Read the chapter thoroughly. Learn and write word meanings in your Mulberry notebook. Learn and write word meanings in your Mulberry notebook. You have to learn the word meanings and then you can write in your Mulberry notebook in very neat and clean handwriting. Okay? So thank you my dear students. Thanks for watching the video till the end. So we will meet soon with another video of question answers in part 3. Meeting Miss Trotwood part 3. So bye children. Have a nice day. Take care.